Hi, if you're looking for an explanation to the three rhetorical appeals, this is definitely the right place. My video will give the understanding of the three rhetorical appeals, that is ethos, pathos, and logos. This video is prepared as part of my assignment Upload, Share and Learn for critical thinking and argumentation guided by Professor Milan Pandya sir. My video will cover the following topics. What is rhetoric, rhetor, and audience? What makes an argument more persuasive? History of the three rhetorical appeals, explanation of ethos, pathos, and logos with examples, and how they are used in an argument. Before we can understand the ways in which the rhetorical appeals work, we must first understand what rhetoric is. There are many commonly used definitions, but for our purposes, rhetoric refers to all the following: the art of persuasion, the study of the art of persuasion, and an individual act of persuasion. There are two parties to be concerned with: the rhetor, the party that is attempting to persuade, and the audience, the party that is the target of persuasion. So, the first thing whenever you read an argument, you should ask yourself, is this persuasive? And if so, to whom? Or how is it trying to persuade the readers? The real question here is what makes an argument more persuasive or memorable? An argument or the speeches in a debate will identify different positions on a topic. But what makes the speech or argument from one side more persuasive and memorable? Or what makes Facebook posts so persuasive and memorable that it receives a comment or is liked by many people? Or what techniques drives the Twitter users to retweet one idea from person to person? Or in cultural debate of ideas on social media, what makes the ideas expressed persuasive and memorable? Aristotle proposed there are three principles used in making an argument: ethos, pathos, and logos. Ethos, that's credibility, reliability. Logos, which uses logic and reasons. Pathos, emotions, imaginations, and sympathy. You can make a rhetorical appeal by trying to manipulate someone's emotions, convincing someone you are a credible, honest, and ethical source, or by offering original data or convincing with evidence. For Aristotle, a good argument would contain all the three. These appeals are intrinsic to all arguments or assertions, and oftentimes you will discover that an effective source text uses a little bit of all of them. Now let's talk more about these three ethical rhetorical appeals with examples. So first, ethos. Ethos is related to the English word ethics and refers to the trustworthiness of the speaker or writer. Ethos is an effective persuasive strategy because when we believe that the speaker does not intend to do us harm or is highly reliable, we are more willing to listen or to what he or she has to say. For example, when a trusted doctor gives you advice, you may not understand all of the medical reasoning behind the advice, but you nonetheless follow the directions because you believe that the doctor knows what he or she is talking about. Likewise, when a judge comments on legal precedent, audiences tend to listen because it is the job of a judge to know past legal cases. Considering your ethos is critical to getting your audience to make you seriously, because you might make all sense in the world, but if you look unreliable, your ethos failed to persuade the audience. Talking about examples from social media, on the official Twitter account for American Red Cross, there was this post which said that this weekend Red Cross plans to install more than 1500 smoke alarms. An argument using ethos, like the example in the previous slide, will use only credible, reliable sources to build an argument, and the writer or the speaker will cite those sources correctly. An argument using ethos will also state an opposing position accurately, a measure of respect for the intended audience. Finally, an argument using ethos may include the personal experiences of a writer or a speaker as part of an appeal to an audience. These posts on social media, where the written information, pictures, or links reveals the writer's values and preferences, are great examples of ethos. So, now talking about pathos, pathos is related to the words pathetic, sympathy, and empathy. Whenever you accept a claim based on how it makes you feel without fully analyzing the rationale behind the claim, you are acting on pathos. In the same way, when you make an argument that attempts to persuade people only by invoking an emotional reaction in them, you are using pathos. This can be done with any emotion: love, fear, patriotism, guilt, hate, or joy. Many texts from the modern press or politicians are heavily dependent on pathos appeals. Appeals to pathos touch an emotional nerve and compel people to not only listen but also to take the next step and act in the world. Like the example here, an Instagram post for breast cancer awareness shows a young girl holding a sign. I am inspired by mom, and the post explains as such. We see that pathos are mostly used in advertisements and campaigns. Like this picture. This picture showing the cause of smoking emotionally disturbs us and make people quit smoking. Again with another picture. When we look into the eyes of these animals, we don't help on the other side of the world. We can't help but act. Pathos is most evident in emotional communication, from heart-tugging quotes to infuriating pictures. Writers or speakers who incorporate pathos in their arguments will focus on telling a story to gain the audience sympathy. Pathos will use visuals, humor, figurative languages. These kinds of appeals are particularly effective as persuasive arguments in a debate because an audience has emotions as well as intellect. However, like these examples show, using emotional appeal alone is not as effective as when it is used in conjunction with logical and or ethical appeals. Logos. The Greek word logos is basis for the English word logic. Logos is a broader idea than formal logic. Logos refers to any attempt to appeal to the intellect, the general meaning of logical argument. Everyday arguments rely heavily on ethos and pathos, but academic arguments rely more on logos. These arguments engage readers or observers by appealing to reason, logic, and data. Logos is used when the user relies on an audience intelligence in offering a credible evidence to support an argument. That evidence usually includes facts, which are valuable because they are not debatable, they represent objective truth. Authority. This evidence is not outdated and it comes from a very qualified source. Seeing another example here from social media, a post on the National Aeronautics and Space Administration NASA Facebook page. Yes, the picture. It's a fact which are valuable because they are not debatable. they are representing the objective truth. And the picture also has the authority because NASA is a very qualified source. Possible features of the three rhetorical modes. When we talk about ethos, the following features can be seen or you can use when you want to persuade somebody using ethos or pathos or logos. So first we'll talk about ethos. Language appropriate to the audience and support, uh, appropriate level of vocabulary, then you are restrained, sincere and fair-minded. And talking about pathos, you use emotionally loaded language, emotional examples, vivid descriptions, and you speak in a very emotional tone. And if I say about logos, uh, they are they have reasons, denotative meanings to it, literal and historical analogies. They have factual data and statistics, quotations, or citations from experts and authorities. So we'll go through a few of the examples and practice if you can understand if the following examples are either ethos, pathos, or logos. So the first example here is it's pathos. It's trying to evoke your emotions. The next example, it's logos. It uses statistics or we say premises to make a claim that everyone should be using helmet. This again here is an example of logos. It uses statistics or premises to make a claim. It's ethos because it's asking you to trust an expert. Last example, children are dying and starving every day. Please donate now. This is very clearly pathos. It's trying to evoke your emotions. So that comes to the end of my assignment. Upload, share and learn for critical thinking and argumentation. Thank you so much. I hope you liked my video. My professor quoted and I quote, always stay logical.